Hello, good people. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for all the folks who like and subscribe and for being open minded about this content. We kind of get into the weeds with this stuff, so I appreciate you being here. I want to talk about eliminating grades in graduate school. Now, I'm not saying every particular program could do this, but some could. But let me go through the reasons for this that I believe actually are centered on really student increasing students' motivation and internal locus of control and intrinsic motivation. The first question you have to ask yourself is, do you really respect the power of the students? I sometimes put this on a continuum from love to fear. Do I fear that the students won't learn unless they're cajoled into different tasks and assignments, or do I respect their power to learn at their pace and in their own way? That's a question that you just kind of have to ask yourself as an instructor. I think also as a student, because we're in a performative mindset. We've got all these end of grade tests that you've grown up with. You've learned to perform. But now, particularly in graduate school, it's about using this information for your career. And where do you stand with that? Do you believe in your own power? I understand if you don't, because it almost feels like we've tried to drive that out of you in some ways. We know from the research to increase student motivation, collaboration and feedback are two big variables. Grades don't even show up in most of the research I read. It's about collaborating between students, between teacher, and also good feedback. Feedback's different from grading. I find I can give more stringent and probably poignant feedback when I don't have to worry about, did my rubric say that? Was that in the rubric? Because, anyway. Transparency. Let students know in the very first class what this class is costing them, okay? Whether they're taking out loans or whether a grandparent's paying for it or they're paying for it for themselves. Help them see that, wow, I'm paying a lot of money for this. I'll create another video on just the cost of higher education, but let them know that I'm paying a lot of money for this. And you know what? There's a lot of trades out there that need people, and maybe I could spend my time, more successfully elsewhere. But get them thinking about that as, oh yeah, I'm paying money for this. What do I want to do with it? Increasing intrinsic motivation. If all of our stuff is rubric and grade based, that's very external. That's us putting our expectations and pressures. Rubrics also suck the creativity out of assignments. It's like students will just like, okay, I know what I need to meet, versus like sitting with it and thinking like, how can I create this in my own voice? That's meaningful to me. So that's our job as educators, is to increase intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation, where I'm forced to do something or I'm required to do something. Also, stages of change. Good old Prochaska and DiClemente trans-theoretical model is everybody's at different stages of change. And what I mean by this is stages of learning. Some people are pre-contemplation. They're just in there to get this course done. They have no desire to learn anything. They just need to get it done for whatever requirement. And we need to understand that and respect that. There's some that are like completely motivated and psyched about the course. That's a different stage, but respect that everybody's at different stages. And I love this kind of solution focused question for students. They don't have to answer it, but at least entertain it. Is, if students were successful in this course, how would they know at the end of that course? How would they know they were successful? They get to define what success is to them. I think another question also related to this could be, what would they do in this course in order for them to feel successful when it's done? Hey, I've paid this amount of money. I've spent this amount of time doing assignments. How will I know that this has been successful? Again, I want to go back to, this is graduate school. They're going to be using this information for their careers. So it's directly applied to what they're going to be doing once they graduate. Last but not least, for those of you in any type of higher ed, we've always got to assess classes and so forth. And for me, this is a problem. but what I will say is that one of the most significant things is to ask students, hey, what were the significant learning moments in this course? What do you see yourself using at the end of this course? And that becomes problematic with assessment and different accrediting bodies, because they want something on a Likert scale where you get a score. I really do think the more qualitative way is the best way to go, but I also understand the complication of it. All right, good people. Let me know your comments on this. Probably more videos to come related to eliminating grades, but I do look forward to hearing your schools. I think one last thing I will say is that for the students who are really wanting, they just can't get away from that gold star, A plus status. In a graduate program, write for publication. Like I would tell the students, like, hey, you can disregard any of my assignments, but if that's where your mindset, but you've got to write a paper for publication. Now, here's the reason I would say that is as somebody who has published throughout my career, the end product, who knows if that's valuable or not? Who knows? What I can say is it's an excellent learning experience to create an argument, to read and learn and maybe do research, conduct a study, and to gain mastery in a topic, and then to have the editors. So you're constantly, it's almost like you're one part academic, one part attorney trying to defend your project here. And in order to do that well, you've got to think dialectically and systemically and from all angles. So for a learning experience, personally, I think writing for publication is one of the best learning experiences. Now, that's for me, more of an introverted person. But for folks who are like, I got to stay in that kind of mindset, hey, I got a project for you, and I can be flexible enough to eliminate all the assignments. But at the end of the semester, you're going to have a publishable quality paper. I guarantee you they're going to learn a lot from that process. All right, good people. Let me know your thoughts. Talk to you on the next video. Take good care.